Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. In this video, it's going to be what I promised before if you did see the what not to do in the gun store, where we looked at 8 things as a customer you should not do in a gun store. As promised, in this video, we're going to be doing 8 things as an employee or a gun salesman you should absolutely not do in a gun store. The number one thing that you should not do as a gun salesman is going into your job, not doing the proper research or getting the proper training in order to give people accurate information. This bugs the heck out of me, and I see it a lot more in kind of the big box retail, like outdoor stores. And a lot of the issue with this, guys, is us as gun salesmen, we should be like the perfect aspect of information for the customer. We should be able to answer every question that they have, and if they have a question that we can't answer, we should be able to go home, do research on that, so if we get that question again, we can then answer it for them, you know, if they come back or somebody else asks that question. So make sure you're getting that training done, you're doing the research on your own. You really need to just constantly stay updated. It's a lot easier for somebody like myself or all the other people that I work with at the gun store I work now, where for us it's a passion. It's something that I love doing. I love going home and researching things, and if I get a question that I don't know, you will be sure that that night I'll be going home and I'll be curious myself to actually get some answers for it. So just don't go out there and not do research, not care, and get no training at all. And as far as actually learning how to shoot, learning safety techniques and stuff like that. So number one thing, make sure you're getting that training. Make sure you're doing the research if you have a question that you can't answer. Number 2 thing, this is honestly, I was struggling with which one of these to put first. But do not have a bias towards anything, towards guns, towards calibers. You know, don't be the guy or girl that's behind the gun counter and says, you know, hey, you need a 1911 because I carried it for 35 years, and, you know, I carry a 45 because I don't want to shoot twice. I've literally heard that, you know, before multiple times, and it drives me nuts. You need to understand that we need to throw our own personal biases out the door. We are not the ones that are buying the gun right now. So what we need to do as gun salesmen is ask that customer, what are they looking for? What gun suits them best? Now, don't get me wrong. If you have a certain manufacturer or a certain gun specifically in that manufacturer that you've done a lot of research on, or have had personal experience with, that you know just isn't a good option, that's not going to be reliable, that's not a good option for them, absolutely you need to let them know that. You need to let them know if you just got a gun in and it's been having crazy issues from the factory, that, you know, safety issues, the gun's just not good. But don't have biases. You know, if a customer comes in with a budget of $300, don't turn your nose up because they can't afford a, you know, $3,000 Salient Glock. That they can't have. You know, they're looking for a gun, they have a $300 budget. What can you give them? What can you give them in their store? If you don't have something, what can you give them on your website? You can't have biases towards something, especially calibers. Don't be the person who's going to frown down at somebody who's looking at a 380 because that's what fits them, or who's looking at a 9mm because they're not willing to carry a 45 or a 10mm. Don't be that guy that does that. It drives me up the wall. As customers shouldn't do that either, but they should be looking towards gun salesmen to give them the proper answer. And it drives me nuts because if somebody tells them, you know, hey, I carry a 45 because it's going to blow a bowling ball size hole in them, that customer is going to take that and they're going to say, hey, wow, maybe I should stop carrying a 9mm and go up to a 40 caliber or 45 or an even larger caliber, just because they said that the 9 is just not effective at all, or 380. You know, to me, I love literally, if you hand me a gun that works, I don't care what caliber it is, I don't care how much it is, if it fits my hand well, if the ergonomics are good and the gun's reliable and it's accurate and I can get shots down range, I'm gonna like that gun. I have no biases towards calibers, towards anything else. I hit on 45 a lot just because that's unfortunately what I see a lot of the ridiculous statements come out about from people who only carry a 45. So that's why I hammer it so much, is because I feel like that 40 caliber is going to be those two calibers that I like to call the power calibers that people carry just because they want to feel that their gun is so much more powerful than 9 or 380, and those would be the four kind of general calibers you see being sold. So number 2, no bias towards guns, calibers, manufacturers. The third thing kind of goes along with number 1, training and research, but it's staying updated. Springfield just came out with the Saint recently. That's kind of been the huge thing in the gun community right now for an economical AR. It's great that they're doing that, and they're selling like wildfire. Ours sold like the first day it was out on the shelf. But it's up to us to have information about that. I already had 4 questions coming in. Hey, have you gotten the Saint in yet? Hey, what are the specs on the Saint? Can you tell me more about it? And if we don't know, again, it's our job to stay updated and do research on the new guns that are coming in. So just stay updated, do your research. Number 4 is going to be practice safety. I hate that I even have to say that, because you are supposed to be the person behind the counter telling somebody how to be safe with a gun. So when I see somebody going to hand somebody a gun, they don't check the chamber at all, they don't check that it's empty. Obviously 99.999% of the time at a gun store, the gun's going to be empty in the case. But we want to instill in the customer all of the fundamental gun safety rules. We have a lot of beginners coming into gun stores that really have no idea. So they are going to look to you as a source of knowledge to learn information from, especially safety. So the number 1 thing that I want to see from a gun salesman is that when I'm handing them a gun, or when I see somebody else handing them a gun, that we're letting them know how to safely hold it. It's our job to kind of take the reins there, because they're, again, looking at us for that information. And dear God, do not take that gun and say, hey, let me take a look at that. Let me show you this new one that got like that, and graze all the customers. Again, we are trying to show them the safe way to do it. I already get grazed by customers 1,000 times by the gun, and that's, I give it kind of a pass by, give them, a little bit of a warning, but I understand if, because it's a beginner, they just don't know. But when I see employees doing that in other stores, it just makes me very frustrated, because you should not be doing that at all. Number 5, catch straw purchasing. So straw purchasing is a huge deal, and guess what? Background checks cannot see that. If somebody comes into the gun store and they say, hey, I'm looking for this gun, and the gun just doesn't really fit them, as far as like they don't really know anything about it, it's a pretty advanced gun, or it's a pretty oddball gun for them to just be getting, and it seems like they're getting the information elsewhere, and all of a sudden you check, you look around, and other places in the store, they're taking a second and going to talk to somebody way over there. We need to be able to catch situations like this. Now, obviously, we really need to work hard to not try to judge somebody and immediately just say, hey, I think you're doing a straw purchase. But if you are concerned, keep in mind, in all 50 states, you have all the right in the world to deny a sale for no reason at all. You do not have to sell them a gun. And that they put that there in all 50 states that sell firearms because of the fact of straw purchasing. So it's our job to catch that. It's our job that if we are a little bit unsure, just pry a little bit, ask some questions, say, hey, is this gun for you? Is this a gift? And if they answer all the questions correctly, great, give them the gun. I mean, it's up to you. You're the one that needs to make that decision. Anytime that the gun is going somewhere where you don't think it should go, just be skeptical. It's your job to politely ask and politely detect a straw purchase, because if you don't, you could very well be getting in a lot of trouble and going to court. So just make sure you stay, get trained in how to kind of weed out those straw purchases, because the last thing we need in the gun community is another issue happening from something really stupid like a straw purchase that you could have done your job to stop. Number 6, this one I see a lot and I really shouldn't, and it's basically one of those things where somebody a female comes into a gun store, right, and they're looking for a firearm, and the gun salesman, again, throws a bias in there and goes, well, come on over to the little micro 380s and 22s. These will be great for you. I hate that. It's so stupid, and you look really, really ignorant. Most females are going to do 100% of a better job starting with a full-size gun, let alone a micro tiny gun. So as our job as gun salesmen, they're coming to us, they have no knowledge, saying, hey, what should I get as a female looking to get a concealed carry permit? Just feel it out. If a micro 380 fits them and it works great, good, awesome, go with that. I've had people that are cyclists, runners, that just they're looking for something to carry on their person. It might have to be small, even though it's not the best option. We've talked about that before. But just what I like to do is I'll stack, I don't know, 5 different options, from a full-size 45 to a full-size 9mm to a micro 380, and just let them know. If they're looking at 22s, you should let them know that a semi-auto 22 and a handgun tends to be pretty spotty, a lot of them, for reliability. So just let them know all these features, let them know all the facts, and just simply give them the guns, let them try them out. I've had a lot of times where kind of boyfriend or husband steps in and says, no, she needs this, she needs a revolver or a 22 or whatever. Try as hard as you can to politely bypass that and just simply continue engaging in the girl, asking her, well, what do you want? What are you looking for? And that's really it's a very important thing that you do, because you can intimidate somebody right out of the gun store really quickly if you're kind of a excuse the French, but a jackass about it. Number 7, try your very, 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 very hardest not to discuss politics behind the gun counter. This is a really tough one. I've, as crazy as it sounds, have somebody who's like a die-hard liberal Democrat this political season, die-hard Hillary supporter, coming in to buy a gun, or coming in and trying to get political, trying to start political. And this is going to ramp us up to our 8th topic, but I'm not going to go there yet. And that's just try your very hardest to disengage, to stop with those questions, because here's the deal. Again, we are trying to be unbiased, and although it may be an extraordinarily frustrating topic, you got to remember what you're there for, and that's just to help this person find a firearm. We got to try to not give our personal views. The only time that I will get political is if somebody's just incorrect about a topic, as far as what they're calling a firearm, or if they've been misled by something. I kind of try to just give them the right information without getting to my political views. You really shouldn't be discussing candidates. Try your very hardest to just keep it out of there. And this will help with the final number 8 thing you shouldn't do in a gun store, and that is try to not talk for hours to a customer. This is something that I am so guilty of, that I had to work so hard not to do. And the reason is, you can see why I started this YouTube channel, is because I am very passionate about firearms. It's a massive part of my life. Firearms in the gym is really the only two, outside portions other than my family that I really just love being immersed in. And so once I talk to customers about guns, it's really easy for me to totally start geeking out over a gun, or get really intense and really just love talking. I like to look at it as one of 2 things. One, if your gun store is packed, if it's super busy, cut it down to about 15 minutes if you can. And that should be more than enough time to give that customer enough information so they can decide on a firearm. If not decide, you can write them down things to look at, to research on and stuff like that. But if the gun store is dead, if it's super empty and there's nobody else in line, by all means, give them the full gun store experience, really help them out. That helps them, if they're new to firearms, that helps them really feel welcome to a gun store. We don't want to scare people away. We need as much people into the firearms industry as we possibly can. That's how we stay alive in the Second Amendment here, is just getting more and more people in. So keep it short and sweet. That is going to be 8 things that you should not do if you work behind a gun counter, if you are a gun salesman. Just do not do these 8 things. It drives me crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for a lot more content coming soon. I have some more guns getting in the inventory I can't wait to do first impressions on. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm getting a lot of great feedback on these videos, and it makes me so motivated to make more. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next videos to come.